thought about this time, some of us who have been analyzing this had always said that these talks are not going to lead to anything. Excuse me. They're not going to really conclude the way we want them to, and it was very obvious. And I'm sure everyone who was participating in it knew that as well. Why did Pakistan participate in these talks then? If they knew that they're not going to conclude, that is actually to create an environment in which the world could understand Pakistan's position. Because what we need to do now needs to have international support. And otherwise, it would just be, conducting strikes, and we could be blamed for what Israel is doing to Hamas. Well, you see that a few reasons for that. The first is the capacity itself. The Afghan Taliban are broken up into bits and pieces. So you have the Qandhari group, which are further divided into two different groups, the Nurzai, and there's another group, and they are fighting for power. And then you have the Qandhari groups are opposed by the Haqqani group, who are in Kabul and Jalalabad and these areas, etc. Now, anyone who tries to deal with the TTP, he is going to fall on the wrong side of the militants. And the character and nature of a Taliban government is based upon foot soldiers because they are not a popular government. So if the TTP starts joining the opposition and there's an armed conflict within Afghanistan, that weakens the group which went for them. So this is an issue as to who's going to do it and all. The other thing in it is that there is substantial evidence which points towards Indian interference and the Indians instigating all this issue related to cross-border terrorism, facilitating and funding and resourcing the TTP to carry out operations in Pakistan through the Afghan government. So it's a double proxy system now. We have the Afghan government as whatever goes for government as a proxy to the Indians, and then the TTP proxies and the BLA proxies to the Afghan Taliban. Well, there has to be enough pain, felt by the Afghan Taliban, which should be more than the comfort that they get by carrying out terrorism. Now, if one can balance that out, so then those targets become easy. I think it will be precision targets against camps, because here we're getting Afghan people also identified as Afghan citizens who are part of the TTP. So they join those TTP groups which come in. So the Afghan government may have to also face punitive action. So this is what Pakistan has to do. But here, let me tell you something. We have a problem with terrorism, and it's two-sided. One is coming from Afghanistan, and one is internal. We've got to deal with both. We cannot deal with just only the ones that are coming from Afghanistan. And the ones which are inside, you have to understand that terrorism is a tactic of war. It is not just a phenomenon. And being a tactic of war, it is the only tactic which is one which is confronted by the people and not by the armed forces. Because people secure spaces. People are the ones who secure the area in general and make sure that no untoward incident happens. The armed forces remain in support. Military solutions are no solution for eternal conflict. Military always creates an environment for it. And the actual solution is in the hands of the people. So unless there is a process in which the people are empowered along the border and they're able to handle the situation, we will not be able to resolve this problem. And let me quote again, I've been doing this on other channels too, Warburton, who raised the Frontier Corps, very famously said, let the owners of the land be the keepers of the land. So if one is able to empower the people, it will help the government. Well, you see, they had a Jirga recently, and in the Jirga, there was an announcement made that there'll be no operations, no more operations. I feel that the government should have insisted that that's all right. You can say there will be no more operations, but they should have insisted that the Jirga should have also said that we take responsibility for the space and the area. What's missing is trust between the people and the government forces. So there's a breakdown in trust. There's a breakdown in understanding what is really happening. I think the leadership amongst the local people need to be educated and need to be empowered and given the capacity to be able to handle their own spaces. I these are political statements, and they really don't come into my domain of a military professional statement. So you don't annihilate the enemy; somebody will remain standing. First of all, there's a misconception that Pakistan supported the Afghan Taliban. That support was is exaggerated. The Afghan Taliban fought their own war and they resourced themselves and they armed themselves, and we took a lot of credit for it. And at that particular time, we kept on making it look as we were responsible. And we were blamed by the world, and we were very happy to swagger across claiming to have some influence. We never had any influence. And I wrote about it at that time that we don't have any influence. They don't want to listen to our intelligence agencies or to our government, etc. They are quite independent in their thinking and they will do their own thing. But as far as TTP is concerned, there was a fatwa given by Mullah Umar in which he had warned the TTP not to attack Pakistan army and they should come and join the jihad. And they refused and they continued to do it. And in 2008, they declared war against Pakistan. The TTP are a mix of criminals. They are people who have usurped the leadership in the tribal areas, and having done that, they have force recruited people, and they don't really have any strategic orientation or objective. And they're there violent for the sake of violence, but more for the sake of getting revenue from the people by force, creating no-go areas, and then generating more revenue. So there was really no connection between TTA and TTP. The TTP were kicked out in 2010 from Pakistan into Afghanistan. There, the Afghanis gave them space and allowed them to settle into what they're calling refugee camps. And that is when the connection started. And then they started using them amongst the foot soldiers to reinforce their own rank and file. And that is where the connection started. The connection had nothing to do with the Americans. The TTP never fought the Americans. No, like I said, never expected anything from these talks, and I don't expect the ceasefire because you see the casus belli for enmity, the reason for Pakistan and Afghanistan's animosity is really an outcome of other things. It's not the TTP is not the cause of it. The TTP is the immediate cause which stares us in the face today. But the cause is right from 47, not recognizing the Durand line. A lot of people are now coming on TV and apologizing for the Afghan people that, look, that than 47, but they said that we don't care. You can do what you like. We also have passports. You also have passports, this, that, the other, and all that. But the fact of the matter remains that they've not accepted the Durand line and they have created the Pashtunistan problem and they have aggravated that over the years. And they claim territory up to the Indus and then they expect us to be friendly with them. How is that possible? If I want to frighten somebody, I'll exaggerate whatever I'm doing. This probably is in that line. So there must be a few terrorists and suicide attackers because that is their way of warfare. Uh, but I don't think it's about that many, nor will I take it too seriously. Well, I would suggest that Pakistan should avoid trying to fidget with the internal situation inside Afghanistan because that's where all the trouble starts as far as we are concerned. We shouldn't try and engineer regime changes and things of this sort or divides or division amongst people. We should just realize that there is a problem and that problem is going to be created because of what we are insisting upon. That they should go and dismantle the TTP. They should because that's their responsibility. They said it in the Doha agreement with the United States that they would do it against for all countries. wouldn't allow their soil to be used by terrorists, but they didn't do that. So we should insist on it, and if it leads to divide amongst their own people of fiction, then so be it. But we shouldn't be the one instigating it. India is an enemy state, and whenever there is going to be an environment or a situation which works against Pakistan, they will always use that as an opportunity, and so would we. So I wouldn't grudge the Indians taking this chance to do a complete U-turn and jump onto the Taliban and make them great pals. Uh, this is this is the outcome of that enmity. This is what is going to happen. As far as the conflict is concerned, look, Pakistan has got reach. It has a full spectrum capacity. It is strategic in nature. It has a long reach, so it can use long range weapon firepower. It can use maneuver. It can use defensive firepower on the lines. How does that differ from what is happening from the opposing side? They don't have the kind of weapon systems, etc. So they will follow low intensity conflict, which is actually more an attrition warfare. So Pakistan has to be very careful not to get drawn into an attrition warfare, because with the kind of resources the Indians can pump in, when with the kind of recruitment that the TTA have, if this carries on for a substantial period of time, it will weaken Pakistan. So we need to be decisive in our actions. We need to be conclusive in the way we operate. If we're going to drag this too long, it will affect us. So we should use our full spectrum the way we need to. Well, the border's already closed. That's the only economic pressure we can put onto the Afghans. It has an effect, but it affects the people. That is another issue that Pakistan, as a government and as a people and as a country, should not make policies which affect the Afghan people. It should affect the Afghan government. So I think we should focus on kinetic operations, which should deal with camps, deal with the resources that the government has, and it should render the government, actually overwhelm the government with the capacity that we have. I think that we are going to have a conflict on our hand very soon. And I don't know whether it will be this round of conflict or the next round of conflict, but it is only a conflict which will eventually lead to some kind of negotiated settlement. I don't know how good that settlement would be, but there can be no settlement till the time we resolve this through a conflict. And somebody has to blink. And when somebody blinks, only then there will be some kind of a negotiated settlement. Right now, everyone thinks that he's going to win the next round. Well, Pakistan has the sixth largest armed forces of the world. It has an internationally recognized air force. It doesn't need American backing to deal with Afghanistan. But as far as Pakistan is concerned, it makes good sense to have a good relationship with China, a good relationship with America, a good relationship with Russia, a good relationship with Saudi Arabia. How can you hold that against Pakistan? Then why are you got a good relationship? Should we make America enemies to please the ones? So that's a stupid kind of an argument. Similarly, the ones that talking about drones taking off from Pakistan, there are no drones taking off from Pakistan. They should go to their friends and brothers in Qatar from where the drones are taking off, and where the American Air Force takes off from their soil and attacks Afghanistan. They should take it up with them. Why are they taking it up with us?